Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be organizing my immediate TBR cart. I was away for a couple months and my entire book room is kind of a bit of a mess. I need to kind of take everything off and decide what books I want to read this fall or that I want to try to get to. I'm just going to reorganize my TBR cart and go through it after. So grab a drink, grab your favorite book. Let's get to reorganizing. But I do want to go through all the books that I have on there right now. This is my immediate TBR. I have lots of books that I haven't read on my shelves yet too. These are just the books that I want to get through. I always change it out every season. Just to start off, the top shelf, just this side, are all the series that I'm in the middle of that I haven't read the next book of. So I just keep them up here so I can see them all. In the middle of a lot more series than this, but the series that I'm in the middle of that aren't on here are just because the next book hasn't come out yet. I do have a few on here that are just duologies that I think I really do want to finish this fall just to kind of get those checked off my series list. The first one we have is The Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. Now this is the second book in the Elements of Cadence duology. I really enjoyed the first one. Now I will say, if you're a fan of Rebecca Ross and you've read the Divine Rivals Ruthless Vows duology, this one is very different. It's more fantasy based and there's not as much romance that goes along in it. In the first book at least. I don't know about this one, I haven't read it yet. I'm probably not going to take the rest of the books off, so we're just going to go through it like this. But we've got The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy. Her books are really good. I read the first one, the 5th season, back earlier this year and it was so good. It was very heavy on fantasy. It was a very unique concept. I really enjoyed it. It's something that you have to pay attention to every single word or you're gonna miss things that are important, and so I need to, when I'm really able to have some time and lock in, I'll pick that one up. And we have Enchanter by Kaylee Smith. Now I read Phantasma, I think it was last October or November, and still haven't finished this one, but this is another one that I'm hoping to really get to and just finish off the duology. I think it's a duology. Up here we've got Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. I think I'll probably end up finishing the entire series at some point next year. I started the first book in May. I loved it. It was so good. It was so much funnier. Like, I've never had a book make me laugh out loud the way that that book did. So I'm excited to continue the series. I've heard the second book is a lot of people's favorite in the series. I have high expectations for it, so I think I'm a little bit anxious to start it because of that. I don't want it to let me down, but I mean, the first book was amazing. So then I have Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. This is also the second book in a duology. I remember wanting the arc so bad. I wanted to read it so bad, and then it came out. I still haven't read it, and I think anytime there's a new release I get so excited about it and I'm anticipating it so much, but then everyone starts reading it and everyone gets so excited about it that I get anxious to get into it. And then we've got Legendary by Stephanie Garber. That's the second book in her Caraval trilogy. I've only ever read Caraval by her. I haven't read the other series. I do have a Once Upon a Broken Heart series right behind me here. I really want to get to finishing the Caraval series first before I jump into that one. But I really liked Caraval. I think I gave it 5 stars earlier this year, maybe 4.5. But I really enjoyed it. I love the story. I thought it was such a good, quick read, and I'm excited to finish this series as well. Again, I feel like fall is a perfect time to read this series. Then we have Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. I read Beartown last year and it was so good. The way that Frederick Bachman writes is so incredible. What I really like about his writing style is that you don't know whose POV you're in until you're reading a little bit. He has all these characters that you get introduced to right away, which can kind of get a little bit confusing. He introduces them all right away and you have no idea how they're all going to connect. It's the main story and then he introduces another side character and it's like, well, how does this person even have anything to do at all with the main story, and where are we going with this, and why do we need to know this person? By the end of it, it kind of just wrapped up perfectly and everyone's just connected and it all starts coming to light. The storytelling is just so unique and unlike anything I've read before. Beartown's the only one I've read. Is it? I think I've only ever read Beartown by him, but I've got the entire Beartown trilogy. I also have Anxious People and My Friends is also on my TBR. I also have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Now that's the second book in her Part of Your World Interconnected standalone series, and I've heard everyone loves the second one, so I'm really excited to jump into that one as well. I have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. Now I'm not the biggest fan of this series. I thought Powerless was okay. I really liked Powerful. That was probably my favorite in the series, the little novella that comes after Powerless. Didn't like Reckless. I audiobooked that. I have a video up of me reading that book and all my reactions. I feel like I'm someone who I need to know how the series is going to end. I need to know, even though I didn't love it, I need to know how it's going to end and how it gets wrapped up. I'm not a big fan of the series, so I'm just not eager to pick it up anytime soon, so I don't think I'll be getting into it at all. It's on here because it's part of the series that I'm in the middle of, and these are all the ones that I have. And then we have the tandem read of the Thorn and Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and that one I've been putting off for way too long. I've recommended this series to people who have now finished it before me because I've just been intimidated to finish it. Those are all the series that I'm in the middle of right now. I feel like The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I know absolutely nothing about this book, but it just feels like the perfect fall book. I don't know, something about the cover just screams fall. Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu. Then we have what I feel like is such a perfect read for fall, but it's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I don't even know what it is, to be honest, but I've just heard that it's the perfect fall read. I haven't really heard too many people talk about it, so I am excited to jump into it. And then we have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I love her writing. I love Divine Rivals. I love Ruthless Vows, and I loved A River Enchanted. Everything she writes I always love. I think I gave all of her books either 4.5 or 5 stars, so it's set in the same world as Divine Rivals, but it's about the gods from that book. I'm really excited to read it. I've heard so many good things about this book. I was gonna wait until I was gonna actually read the book before I bought it, but then I saw that the naked hardback looked like this, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get it. Down here we have Alchemized by Senlin Yu, and I first heard about the book, I think it was on NetGalley or something, and I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks like a really interesting cover. I heard about Manacled before, but I didn't know that they were connected in any what way. So when everyone started getting really excited and buying the book and hyping it up, I kind of felt the FOMO, but I also opened the book and I read the prologue of it and I was like, this sounds incredibly interesting and I'm very intrigued by it and I want to get into it. But I feel like when the hype dies down a little bit, I'll probably pick it up then, just because I feel like there's so many high expectations for this book being incredible, and I've heard so many good things, but I've also heard that it's a really dark and hard book to get into and it can be very triggering, and so I just want to make sure that I'm in the right mindset to be picking something up like that. And then we have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and this is one that I really want to get to. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I feel like October, November, perfect time to pick it up. And then we have Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. This one, I had started following the author before she published the book for a little while, and I was so excited, and she kept talking about the book and I was so excited to read it. The second I got it, I wanted to jump into it, but I was in the middle of another book and then I just haven't picked it up since. I wanted to read it when I went back home to visit my family. That didn't end up happening, so I do want to get to that, hopefully. And we have One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. Now this one I will be reading for sure. I have not read an Olivia Blake book yet, but I've heard so many good things about that. The fact that it's a modern day Romeo and Juliet set in New York City, that sold me on it. I am someone who I absolutely love Shakespeare in school. Anything to do with Shakespeare, I'll pick up, I'll read, so I'm excited to get into that one. I feel like it's gonna be good. Then we have Thorn Season by, I think it's Kira Azar, but I think she was an actress in Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and she wrote this book, and I went into the store, I hadn't heard of it had just come out like recently when I saw it. Great, I just caught my attention, but when I was reading it, I'm like, this sounds really interesting and new and fresh in the fantasy genre. So also just the end papers are really stunning, and the naked hardback is gorgeous. Then we have A Love Letter to Whiskey. I picked this up in the store because I saw that their special edition came out. I've heard, and I could be wrong, but I feel like I've heard someone say that if you like Jessa Hastings, her writing, her Magnolia Park series, which I'm obsessed with and I love, like that this writing is also just as heartbreaking and beautiful. We have Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. Again, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I love fantasy. It's my favorite genre. And then we have 2 hockey romances. We've got Wildcat by Rebecca Genschak and The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Now, it is hockey season. The hockey season has started, and so I feel like the perfect time to pick up a book about hockey is during this time. I love hockey, and so I'm excited to get into those books. I really need to read a hockey romance. I kept saying this when I first bought those books, is that I love hockey so much, I love watching it. I don't know why I haven't read a hockey romance before, but we are definitely reading at least one this season, and if I don't, then we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Basto. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get to this now because I feel like it's more of a summary read, but the themes in it about grief that I've heard is the reason why I'd want to read it. And then we have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I still haven't read any of her books yet, but I've heard that one's so good, so I'm really excited for that one. We have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I watched Firefly Lane as a Netflix show, and I really enjoyed it. Didn't know it was a book. When I found out it was a book, and I heard so many people say the book was so much better, but the show hit me hard. I cried. So I know that I'm just going to love her writing and her storytelling because I love that show so much. So this is just the one that I feel like is a rite of passage to entering the Kristen Hanna universe. I feel like I need to read this book sometime in the fall. And then we have The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 3. This is the 3rd book in the 8-book series. I think there's more books coming out. I'm absolutely obsessed with this series. The found family so far and just everything about the books is so interesting, so intriguing. It's like a quirky version of Bridgerton. Me saying that as someone who's never watched Bridgerton, but I've heard people compare the series to that. So interesting being in the head of Emma. Like, she's such an interesting character. I love her character so much. And then we have The Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Now, I wanted to read this in the summer, but I didn't get to it, so I really do want to read it. I feel like I want to read my first Carly Fortune book this year, and I feel like in the midst of it being cold and raining all the time now that it's fall, this will be the perfect book to just get me out of like the gloomy mindset and like bring me to some sunshine. Then we have The Homemade God by Rebecca Joyce, and this one I was just looking for something new that I hadn't heard about online in the bookstore, and I remember reading it and I was like, this kind of sounds interesting. It says there's a heat wave across Europe and 4 siblings have gathered at their family's lake house to seek answers about their father, a famous artist who recently remarried a much younger woman, and decamped to Italy to finish his long-awaited masterpiece. Now he is dead and there's no sign of his final painting. As the siblings try to piece together what happened, they spend the summer in a state of lawlessness, living under the same roof for the first time in decades. Forced to confront the buried wounds they incurred as his children and waiting for answers, though they have always been close, things they learn that summer about themselves and their father will drive them apart before they can truly understand his legacy. Meanwhile, their stepmother's enigmatic presence looms over the house. Is she the force that will finally destroy the family for good? I feel like that's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to get to that. And the last book I have on my cart is Hero and Moment by Leon Moriarty. Now, I'm pretty sure it's Leon because I was listening to someone in an interview or something like that say Leanne, and then she corrected, or she was saying that she doesn't really correct people from saying Leanne, but it's Leon, I believe. This book is really interesting. I was intrigued right away. It was Indigo's best book of 2024, and essentially what it's about is there's all these passengers on a plane, and all of a sudden one of the passengers gets up and starts pointing out and telling everybody how they're gonna die. They all probably think she's crazy, but then as the story progresses, they start dying in the way that she said they were gonna die. So that was very interesting and intriguing. I'm excited to read it. Hopefully I'll read it this year. Those are all the books that are on my immediate TBR cart. Let me know what books you have on your immediate TBR, and if you've read any of these, let me know what you've thought of them. Thank you so much for watching if you stayed this long, and I hope to see you in the next one.